Hey everybody, this is Steven from PopCultureMaven.com. We're back with this week's new comic book reviews. Hopefully everybody had a great Halloween. I had actually quite a good Halloween. And hopefully everybody was safe, got lots of candy, hopefully didn't get sick from eating too much candy, and hopefully you watched spooky movies. I know I did all month and probably will continue through November up until Thanksgiving, so might as well just keep it going. But it's actually a pretty decent sized week with new and returning. So let's get right to it. First up, we have Batman, the Joker, the Deadly Duo #1, written and drawn by Mark Silvestri. It's actually been quite a while since, I don't know that Mark Silvestri has ever done any major work. I think he did a Batman Black and White story, but most of, he started out doing Marvel work, and then him and the other founding Image members, they left Marvel to start Image Comics. But it's honestly been quite a while since I've actually seen work from him. I mean, he's done, he does a lot of, he runs Top Cow, but this is the first major project he's really done for DC, and it's actually a pretty good start. I mean, I'll be really honest. Mark Silvestri's a decent writer. He's obviously more known for his art, but I will definitely give him props for the story. While it's not going to be, oh my God, this is the greatest story you've ever read, it's a good, solid story. So the basic premise here is, so there's a retired policeman that gets killed. And people say that it was like a guy who had a pasty white face and green hair. So of course it's the Joker, but then there's like weird things about it. Like, well, the elevator wasn't there, so he went down the elevator shaft. And it's like, well, if Joker jumped down the elevator shaft, he'd be dead. So what you do find out is it's the Joker, but it's kind of like this monster, and Batman can't even really kill it. So, and it's also carrying around the policeman's head for some particular reason we don't know. And so Batman tries to stop it. He sort of stops it, and then the police are come, and it ends up getting away. So Joker comes to Batman. He says, hey, he doesn't really, it's like he kind of knows something, but he really doesn't. But he says, I need your help to, catch these things. So basically Batman's like, I don't know if we really want to team up, but he thinks he's going to have to because the Joker kind of knows something. So that's really the, rough plot of the first issue. And like I said, I think it's got some interesting moments. I like the fact that it's not just kind of Batman and a villain. I think the idea of kind of like these monsters that look like Joker is actually a pretty interesting idea. Of course, the big draw for this is obviously Mark Silvestri's artwork, which is actually quite nice. Like I said, it's been quite a while since I've seen artwork from him. That's not saying that he hasn't done anything. But really, this is like his really biggest work in quite a while. And it's really nice. It's really, the artwork's really nice. It's well done. He does have that kind of sketchy look, but it didn't bother me too much because the layouts are actually really good. And that's the other thing. I liked how he did some of the layouts in here. Like I said, I think it's worth I think it's worth buying. I think it was pretty good. I think it'll be interesting to see where he takes the story. Once again, I think it's got an interesting concept, and it's good enough to keep going. So definitely, I think it's worth checking out. Next up, we have Behold the Behemoth #1, written by Tate Bromble, with artwork by Nick Robles. So what this is so there's two brothers, Gray and Liam, and Liam actually has been killed. He was a policeman. And so Gray comes back to his funeral, and he talks to his partner, and Gray is a social worker. So Gray keeps having these kind of nightmares about like monsters or demons or something, kind of in this like post-apocalyptic world. And so he thinks he's maybe just, with all the stress and everything of his brother's death. So he goes out on a case where there's this little girl, Ren, and he starts having these, once again, he passes out there like he has kind of like, not like a seizure, but kind of like a seizure. And so what it is there's also these like weird earthquakes and things going on. And so what it kind of is like I said, the nightmares are basically, it appears to be glimpses into the future where Gray and Ren, she's much older, and it's like this post-apocalyptic sort of thing. So it's really, I think it's not that you're a little lost. I mean, you're definitely, the Brombo is definitely throws you off, but he's also setting things up. And that's kind of the interesting thing. I think that's where the twist of like, you kind of see that future thing towards the end of this first issue goes, oh, okay, this is an interesting twist. It's not just, it's kind of a lot, it's kind of a horror, sort of, thing thrown in, but I also like the fact that, it's a good setup. I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I like the setup. Robo's artwork's actually really nice. It's a good looking book. But like I said, it's definitely, there's a lot of setup here, but don't be afraid of it, because he definitely, it's exposition heavy, but there's a lot that he's setting up here. But the payoff in this first issue definitely leads you like, oh, okay, this is interesting. So I think it's definitely worth checking out, and I think it'll be interesting to see where they go with the story from this. Like I said, good story, good art. I think it's worth checking out. Next up, we have Old Dog #2, written and drawn by Declan Shelvey. So what it is, we know that Jack Lynch is basically, he's been on ice for a while. Now he's back on missions, and his daughter is actually also kind of a secret agent too. So what it is he actually meets one of his kind of one of the guys he used to work with, and he says, hey, can you help catch me up on these 8 years I've been, like in hibernation? And so he gives him like this information but we don't quite know what that information is leading to. But we do know that him and his daughter go out on a mission, and I won't spoil it, but they let's put it this way. Jack has one, he has his mission, and his daughter has another mission. So that's kind of an interesting twist. I like that. Plus there's the whole behind the scenes of the people that are kind of running Jack and were the ones that kind of kept him on ice for 8 years. So that's an interesting, side thing that's coming up, because they're starting, because we don't quite know what was really going on with Jack and why this is kind of happened to him. So that's really interesting. I really like where Shelvey's going with the story. And once again, he's not revealing a lot, but he's revealing enough that like keeps the momentum of the story going, which is always a plus. The artwork is actually really nice. It's really an interesting book. I'm really digging this book so far, so it'll be really interesting to see where he takes this from here. But like I said, a good second issue, and it keeps the flow going. Next up, we have Deadpool #1, written by Alyssa Wong, with artwork by Martin Coccolo. So here's the thing. It's Deadpool. So what it is there's the villain has captured a part of a Cenobite, and what she is doing is she puts it into Deadpool to kind of to basically create a new symbiote. And once again, there's kind of the humor, the goofy stuff of Deadpool. He's actually trying to join this like League of Villains type thing. And his mission, he has to do it within 48 hours, is kill Dr. Octopus. And so in the meantime, he gets captured, and then he tries to, then he's like, oh, I got 2 hours to go kill Doc Ock. But like I said, it's fine for what it is. If you like Deadpool, you're going to like this. I think the thing is, it wasn't, the story's fine. The artwork's actually really nice. It's a pretty decent looking book. But I think the thing is, if you're not a huge Deadpool fan, I don't know that this book is really going to change your mind or get you like, oh my God, I got to start reading Deadpool. It's fine for what it is, but it is also what it is. And I think it was a fine read, but for me, I like Deadpool okay, but there wasn't quite enough here to convince me to like, I really need to continue reading it. And I'm not saying that has anything to do with the quality. I think it's just like, it's really going to more appeal to people who are Deadpool fans. Now, people who maybe haven't read Deadpool, this might work for them, but I think for me, it's just a good, it's just kind of an average Marvel comic. And then that's really, for me, where it lands. Next up, we have Damn Them All, #1, written by Simon Spurrier with artwork by Charlie Adlar. So the basic premise of this is, Ellie, her uncle has passed away. So, and he's in the mob. So you have these like different mobs. So there's the funeral and everything. And then during the wake, this other rival gang comes in and they release a demon. Now Ellie is, she's able to do magic, or, like kind of a wizard sort of thing. And so she's able to like somewhat contain the all the chaos that this demon is causing. So what she does is she goes to her boss, and of course, she knows what's going on as far as the whole magic side of things go, that she's like, okay, well, I'll go find out what's going on. So she goes over to the rival gang's boss. He releases the same demon. She kills the boss and is able to control the demon. What she finds out is that somebody is bringing the demons to like our world, and they don't want to be here because it's painful for them to be here. So they literally want her to exorcise them from the here. So it's kind of like the opposite of like, say, The Exorcist, where a demon comes but the demons actually don't want to come. They don't want to be here. They want to go back because it's painful for them to be here. It's actually a pretty interesting twist on that concept of, exorcisms and demons and stuff. But I also like the whole mob angle that Spurrier's doing with the story. I really quite enjoyed this. I think it's got a really good premise. I think it was a good setup, especially with, the twist that it has of, them actually wanting to be exorcised. Of course, Adlar's, he did The Walking Dead for a long time, so I think a lot of people are familiar with his artwork, and he's done it's really nice artwork. This was really a good looking book. I think it's a great concept. It's definitely worth checking out. Next up, we have The Ones, written by Brian Michael Bendis, with artwork by Jacob Edgar. So what this is there's this guy going around. So there's the people that have been the ones that they've been chosen for a certain thing. Some of them are superheroes. Some of them, they all have some sort of special ability. Some of them have become more superheroes. Some of them are just kind of every day, and some of them don't even care that they, do anything anymore. But what it is, this guy is trying to get them together because what it is Satan has been born and that they have to kill the baby. And they're all like, so the guy brings them together and they're like, we really don't want to kill a baby. That's not kind of what we want to do. And by them actually not getting together and killing the baby, because they kind of like, some of them are like, well, maybe we need to because it's the devil's, the devil incarnation. It's like the devil's baby. But because they don't immediately go do it, it appears that chaos has already ensued. Like it's like because they didn't do what they were supposed to, they actually changed the timeline where, yeah, okay, this is gonna turn out badly. So it's an interesting concept. I'll be honest. I actually enjoyed it for a Bendis comic. I will say, as with a lot of his stuff, the dialogue does get pretty heavy, but fortunately, it never gets too overwhelming. There's a couple times where it gets a little like thick in the dialogue department. But I never felt like I got kind of bored, because sometimes that can kind of happen with me in his writing. But I think this is an interesting concept, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes. Edgar's artwork is it's really nice. It kind of has a bit of a cartoony style to it, which I actually like. I actually like that it doesn't kind of have that you might consider like classic superhero looking comic. I actually like kind of that bit cartoony, kind of simplistic style. I think it actually benefits the story a lot. So I actually surprisingly enjoyed it. It's definitely given me enough to like read the second issue and kind of see where it goes. Because once again, I think Bendis can, and for me and a lot of other readers, can be hot and cold, but I think this one is worth checking out. It definitely feels a little different. It didn't feel like too super heroic. But once again, I think it was kind of worth checking out this week. Next up, we have the new Champion of Shazam, number 3, written by Josie Campbell with artwork by Evan Doc Shaner. So Mary's still trying to find out, her adopted parents have been kidnapped along with a lot of other people. And she's kind of like, well, nobody's really talking about this. Plus, she comes back, and of course the other kids can't, she's the only one that has the power of Shazam. And so what it is, so in the last issue, she takes off, and of course, people captured on video. And so she's overwhelmed with like the social media aspect of her giving her a hard time. So what she does is she has a piece from the battle that she had last time, and she figures out that there's a SIM card in it. And so what it is she figures out that this mystical piece is actually a cell phone. And so she goes and she finds this in the subway. There's kind of like a homeless encampment. And so once again, I really have to give Josie Campbell that there's the great non-wink to really classic Captain Marvel characters. And she introduces Uncle Marv, who was he never had any powers, but he pretended like he was Shazam. And so so what it is so the other thing that happens in this issue is Darla wants to help, kind of solve the mystery. And Mary's like, hey, you're too young, you can't do it. So Darla ends up going off, and she's going to try to figure out what's going on. So that's kind of what's been going on, this whole thing. I really love this book. I am huge Captain Marvel family, and I actually do I do like what Campbell is doing with this story. First of all, it has a lot of fun to it, but it also has a lot of like classic stuff that really made the Marvel family really what it is. But also it is tapping into the current thing that Jeff Johns has created, and also that is in the Shazam film, with the adopted family and everything. But I'm really enjoying this. It's a lot of fun. And then you have Doc Shaner's artwork. I'm a huge fan of his. It's just he is so perfect. This is really just a wonderful book. And it's a real shame if you're not picking it up, because it is a ton of fun, but it really has a good, solid story and really great artwork. So it's definitely please definitely be picking this book up. It's really good. If you have missed it and your comic shop is sold out, definitely pick up the trade when it comes out. Because we've got one more issue to go with this storyline, so it'll be really interesting to see. I'm very excited to see how it all ends. Next up, we have Hell to Pay #1, written by Charles Soule, with artwork by Will Sliney. So what this is so you have these two, you have Sebastian and Alex, and so what it is they have been tasked. They basically have. So what it is hell is actually, it's hell, but hell is like its own economy. Like they trade souls and stuff. So it's like there's money involved. So like there's hell coins. And so what it is there was an uprising, and during that uprising, somebody actually got out of hell and took 316 coins with them. So Sebastian and Alex are tasked because they basically we don't know, they were in some sort of accident. Alex she was pretty beat up, I know, and Sebastian lost his legs, but they basically made a deal, I guess you could say, with the devil to basically give them their lives back and give them, to return them to their whole bodies, because of this accident, if they can return the 316 coins. So this first issue has where they're finding the last coin. They go to this rich guy's house, he has one of the coins. So, and of course he has security. So they have it all planned. They get in there, they get the coin. But here's the thing, when they get done, they both have a coin. So there's more than 316. And what we find out is that there's somebody bringing more coins into the world. So the other thing is that Alex is pregnant. And so if they are under their contract, then the baby belongs to the devil. So they're like, okay, well, wait, we've solved this because we got the 316 coins, but now there's more. And so now they've got 4 or 5 months before she starts showing. And it's just like, it's a really inventive concept. I think it's what I love, what Soule has done here is, I think the whole economy thing of hell is quite fascinating, because it's, it's like, yes, it's hell and people go there and, and stuff like that. But I like the fact that it's kind of an economy. It's not just, fire and brimstone and everything. That's really a fascinating concept. And then you have the flip side with Alex and Sebastian. Like, wait a second, they fulfilled their contract, but there's now more coins. So what's going to happen with that? It's a really interesting concept. I really enjoyed it. I think this first issue is really good. It sets up a lot of things, but has a good momentum where it doesn't feel like the exposition is too overwhelming, and it doesn't feel like it's paced really well. And then I definitely will give Soule that. Sliney's artwork's actually, it's a really nice looking book. Does a really good job. There's action, and then there's, like dialogue, and he handles both really well. So I think it's worth checking out. It's really going to be interesting to see where they take this from this first issue. Next up, we have Poison Ivy #6, written by G. Willow Wilson, with artwork, with pencils by Brian Level, and inks by Jay Liston. And then we have Marcio Takara doing the artwork for the last part of the story. So this is the big finale of where Poison Ivy confronts the villain who has infected her. And so this is the big climax. And what is interesting about it is his whole thing is like, he infected her because, his feeling is that humans are a plague and that they need to be controlled. And that was the whole point of him poisoning her and sending her out to pass on this deadly disease, or this deadly fungus. And what she discovers is that through her journeys, the people that she's met along the way, that humans are part of the ecosystem. And so, well, beyond that, she is like, I need to kill him because this is not good. But it's really an interesting ending to this first story arc. Now, I will say that the original plan was for this to be six issue miniseries. It's done so well that there isn't going to be a 6 issue back half. So it'd be interesting to see. But this story does end in this issue. I really enjoyed this book. Wilson is really a good writer, and I really like the story. The artwork is really good. I mean, Takara was the main artist as in the first series, but Level and Liston came in the last couple issues and done a really bang up job keeping the quality of this story up. I've really enjoyed it. So I would assume that there'll be a trade paperback of these first 6 issues. That would kind of make the most sense, since it is a self-contained, this is a self-contained story. But I really did enjoy it, and I think it was kind of a different look at Ivy, and it also, once again, I love how Wilson does capture that she's not really a villain, and obviously she's not a hero, that she really falls into that gray area, and this story really touches upon that, how that she once again she found that what she thought was like humanity maybe wasn't so great, that they're just as important, they're part of the ecological balance. So that was really an interesting take on that, and I really enjoyed it. And like I said, the artwork was really nice, so it'll be interesting to see what the second half stories bring us. I'll be looking forward to that. Next up, we have Secret Invasion #1, written by Ryan North with artwork by Francisco Mobley. So usually I don't, most of these like kind of big semi-event comics, I'm not really a big fan of, but I am a fan of Ryan North. So I was willing to give this a chance, and surprisingly it wasn't too bad. So the basic setup here is that Nick Fury goes to this farm, and the mom and the 2 kids say, hey, our dad was a Skrull. And what it is it's actually the opposite. They're actually Skrulls. They basically capture, we don't know what they've done with Nick Fury, but they basically, they go to S.H.I.E.L.D. and they go to the CIA and all these other stuff as Nick Fury. And so that's the basic setup of it's the Skrull invasion. I like the setup. I think the big question is, where's it really going to go? Is it going to be a big blowout, or is it going to be more of a kind of an intimate story like this first issue is somewhat? Because really the Avengers are kind of there, but it really is a story that is more subtle, instead of like, oh, hey, the Skrulls are here, let's, all the heroes have to get together. So I actually liked it more than I thought I would, and I think that definitely really has to do with North. Now, I wouldn't say that I was overwhelmed with it, but I did enjoy it, and I was kind of surprised. Mobley's artwork's actually really nice. It's a good looking book. I think we'll kind of see what the second issue brings, but I have to say I did like this first issue. It did surprise me. I think the other thing is, it didn't feel like too much an event. It didn't feel like, okay, you're going to have to read, 12 other issues before issue 2 comes out. No, it really just seems like this is just going to be its own thing. So hopefully it'll stick to that, and North can keep it on its path. Next up, we have Night of the Ghoul #2, written by Scott Snyder with artwork by Francisco Francavilla. So what it is Forrest has taken his son Owen to meet with the director of this Night of the Ghouls movie that has basically disappeared. And as we found out last issue, that Mr. Merritt, the guy who directed it, it's a true story. So what it is his dad was in World War II. He was possessed by this ghoul or demon, and so he made this movie that was actually a documentary, but everybody, it's supposedly like one of the scariest movies ever made, but it's been lost. And so Merritt's in a nursing home, and what we find out is, so here's the interesting thing. So we see clips of the movie. So there's kind of two storylines going on. You have the present with Forrest and his son Owen, but then you have the movie, which is basically the past of his Merritt talking to. So he gets a hold of like his army buddies and says, "Hey, my dad, there's something wrong," and they come across this archaeologist who she came across, and there's like this cult that is worships the ghoul, and so they got a hold of her and messed her up, so she's in a wheelchair. And so you have these kind of two, it's like the same story but parallel. It's really quite fascinating what Snyder's doing with this. And so we have that, how the ghoul kind of got here, and now it's like, say X amount of years later where it kind of comes back. And so it's really quite fascinating, and how I like how you have the dichotomy of the past and the present, and they're kind of the same story but yet different, and that's really quite fascinating. Plus, with Forrest and Owen, and they're trying to save Merritt, and they're also trying to get the film, but Owen gets trapped and he gets underground, and it's not looking good. It'll be really interesting to see how it all comes to an end. I'm very excited. Like I love this story. Snyder's just really, it's what I love about it. It's super creepy but fascinating, because you have the dual storylines that are basically the same but very different at the same time. But really, to add just having Frank Avia's artwork, it's just, I love his artwork, and he is so perfect for this book. This is really a great book. It's really wonderful. I cannot wait to see how it ends, because there's next issue will be the final one. But this is really, really good stuff. Definitely check it out. Definitely pick this book up. It's really a winner. Next up, we have Gotham City Year 1, number 2, written by Tom King, with artwork by pencils by Phil Hester and inks by Eric Gapstar. So Slam Bradley has basically, so his partner was killed. Gordon is interrogating him, i.e. beating him, trying to beat information, because they're trying to blame him for his partner's death, because he got killed with his gun, Slam's gun. But Slam can't say anything because he's working for the Waynes, and their daughter's been kidnapped. So there's that. And then the girl that brought the note comes back and brings another note and says, "Hey, you need, this is where you need to meet." And, the note says where to meet. And so Wayne, the father goes with Slam for the payoff. And so they do the payoff and everything, but they end up, and of course, there's no baby in sight. So it's really interesting. I mean, the first issue I liked the first issue, but it really wasn't until I got to the end of the first issue where it really, really kind of kicked, which was a bit unusual for King. But the second issue definitely really picks right up from that and really just hits a home run and hits the ground running with this second issue. It really just moves very well. I really like this story. It's definitely very noirish and everything. And also I like the fact that it's kind of, set, pre-Batman, which is interesting because the notes keep saying Batman. So that's kind of odd. So we still don't quite know what's going on there. But I really like this, and the other really great thing is having Hester's artwork. He really brings that kind of noir feel to the story that it really needs, and it's really a good looking book. Like I said, I wasn't. Like I said, it was a little iffy on the first issue, but now reading the second issue, the first issue does. I understand what King was doing there to set this story up. So definitely check this out. If you missed the first issue, pick it up. I'm really kind of digging it. Next up, we have Damage Control number 3, written by Adam F. Goldberg and Han Radanoff, with artwork by Nathan Stockman. So once again, Gus has failed his 2 tasks. So they send him out to basically the team who rebuilds stuff. And so once again, this doesn't go well. Gus is an idiot. He of course messes everything up. He pisses the construction guys off. I mean, it's like pissing off your boss on your, first day of work. That ought to go well. So he gets stuck with like doing insurance assessments. There's a whole story with that. I won't ruin it, but I'm really digging this book. It's a lot of fun. Goldberg definitely has taken the concept of damage control and just gone like for broke on it. I mean, this is funny stuff. It's actually a great humor book. But it's also fun. And I love how he incorporates like the different heroes into it. Like this issue has Thor in it. And it's stupid fun, and that is really seriously, missing from a lot of books. It's definitely, and it's a big surprise from Marvel. I really have to say this is a pretty shocking book from Marvel. I really love it. Definitely, we'll see what the next issue brings, but each issue just keeps. I like how each issue is kind of its own story, and honestly, you could read this issue by itself and be perfectly fine because they you just need to know what's going on in this issue. So that's a big plus too. And Stockman's artwork's really nice. I love, he has a bit of a cartoony style, which definitely fits the story, but definitely check it out. And then finally this week we have Batman 129, with the main story written by Chip Zdarsky, with artwork by George Jimenez. And then there's the I Am Gun backup, written by Zdarsky with artwork by Leonardo Romero. So once again, Failsafe has basically taken over Gotham. So Failsafe was created by Batman to basically take out the Justice League. So like he's literally battling something that he made to be unbeatable. So we're in this is the fifth part of the story. So what he does is he has to go to the league's moon base to basically try to stop Failsafe. And so Failsafe is also like he's gone to Atlantis, so there's that going on. So Failsafe is looking to take over more of the Gotham. Like he may take over the world. So it's a whole lot going on. This issue, Batman may have taken out Failsafe, but we're not quite sure if it's because it's very possible Failsafe could be like, I don't know, maybe he's built more of Failsafe, so we don't know. But it's another action-packed issue. I'm really liking what Zdarsky's doing with this story. It's pretty much an straight-up action story. Jimenez's art is as always really spot on, just really good-looking stuff. But I'm actually really having, as much as I like the main story, I'm really digging this new short story with Batman and the Joker. I mean, it's very much like Joker driven, but I really, it's a lot of fun. It's kind of short. I really don't want to say anything because it is so short. Really telling you the story kind of gives it away. But I will say the really great thing about it is Romero's artwork. It is just really good looking stuff. So I'm liking it. I actually, once again, I think this book in Detective, because Zdarsky's doing pretty much a straight up superhero-ish type story where Ram V and Detective is doing more of a detective noir story. So I think these books actually really complement each other because they're not the same. They're very different. And I like the fact that they're different. Like if you want to read Batman, you can. If you want to read Detective, you can. So I'm liking that they're really keeping them separate, and I hope that it stays that way. That's going to do it this week. As always, public service announcement. I get all my comics from Pulp Fiction Comics in Long Beach, California. Ryan Skinner runs a great store there. There's Annie, Eduardo, there's Derek, there's Wendy. It's a really great store. He offers pull service. You get a discount on your comics if you sign up for the pull service through Pullbox. So you just do it all online, and then they just have your books ready for you on Tuesday and Wednesday. And they also offer discounts on their trades, graphic novels, manga. Every day they offer discounts. It's a great store, really great customer service, great customers too. It's a real treat to go in the store. I highly recommend it, as always. If you're more in the LA area, there's Pulp Fiction Culver City, same name, different owners. Chris and her team runs that. They also have pull service, offers discounts on the trades and graphic novels. And but both stores are really good, but obviously, I'm the Long Beach kid, so but definitely check out either store. But I do recommend. I have more of a fondness for the Long Beach store. Nothing against Chris and her team, who run a great store also. But as always, support your local comic shop, no matter where you are. That is very important. Because once again, as I always say, they are the backbone of the industry. And as always, we end our show with be kind. Please be kind to each other out there. Please be safe. We're starting to get into the winter season, so not only flu is becoming a thing, but we're seeing a sneak up of COVID. I know some very close relatives have gotten it. So please be safe out there. Take care of yourself. Get vaccinated, but as really the big thing is to be kind to yourself, be kind to each other. Kindness goes a long way. Kindness really can make somebody's day, I can tell you. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, comments are welcome. If you have any questions, you can always leave them in the comments below. And that's going to do it this week. We'll be back again next week. So this is Steven from Pop Culture Maven signing out. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Be kind. And we'll see you next week. All right. Bye-bye.